So we actually we had like the uh Varner was supposed to go with me and Kyle, and he ended up getting COVID like the day we were leaving. So he ended up not being able to travel. So it was just me, Kyle, and his videographer Tyler from Rudis. And we just traveled, and we had like the craziest travel. We had so many delays. We would take off and then we'd land again. And we ended up getting we had such a long flight, and then we got to Moscow, and our next flight to
Mahachkala?
Mahachkala, yeah, Mahachkala, was the next morning. So um, we wanted to just stay in the hotel because we were tired of traveling all day. And these guys are like, "Yeah, we're gonna pick you up, and we're gonna pick you up, and we're gonna take you to eat, and then we're gonna get you to the hotel. We'll take you back in the morning." So like, all right. So we get there, and like Sadulaev and his whole crew are there, and they put coats on our back because we don't have coats. They take all of our bags from us, and they're just like trying to take really good care of us, which is really cool. And then we ended up they put me in like a Range Rover uh without Kyle. So they put Kyle in this one car with Tyler, and then they put me in the other car, and then we're driving for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, all right, I'm in Moscow. I don't have anybody with me. I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, am I being kidnapped? Like, I don't know.
Dude.
And so I had pretty good trust in them, but I still like I was in a place I'd never been before, so I was a little bit nervous. And we end up like pulling up to this like huge boat. And about an hour and a half later, we pull up to this huge boat, and they rented out this entire like cruise ship for us. Not a cruise ship. It was like it was massive, and it was like a restaurant on the boat, and it was all for us. And
Wow.
we get there, and there's all like the Russian national team guys there, like Goyev, and I can't remember who else was there, but
Like
we
Sadakov,
end
was
up
he there?
Sidakov wasn't there, no.
No.
No. But I think like the 70-kilo guy was there. And we ended up going to the boat took off, and we're eating, and we eat. It's like 2.5 hours past, and we get to like a point where we kind of like stop, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think we're done, like we're here. And then we ask somebody, and they're like, yeah, we're halfway, we're turning around now. So we ended up being on the boat for like 5 hours, and we were so tired and like ready to go to bed, but we were obviously we wanted to be good guests, so we were like still like trying to be energetic and everything, but we were so tired. We ended up like getting back a while later, and then we flew to Mahachkala the next morning. And it's funny over there because we like bypassed all the security and everything. Like they're like, yeah, just come with us. Like in Russia, they were just like, if we were with the wrestlers, like we always like went past the security. We didn't have to like check our bags and stuff. So it was
Really?
I mean they checked our bags, but I don't know like what they were doing. And
So was
but
Sadulaev fly to Dagestan with you guys?
no, I think he flew separate because they had like a wrestle ball tournament. Uh they have like a new sport called rest ball over there where they basically like play basketball, but you're allowed to tackle.
And
So they had
Sadulaev
like a
does this?
yeah,
What
yeah,
about injuries?
all the
What?
wrestlers do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's like one of their
Wow.
favorite sports. And yeah, when we were in so we landed in Dagestan, and then we were like driving like hour and a half back and forth between places. Like we went to Passivert that night, and then the next morning drove back to Mahachkala, and it was like I think just like everybody wanted to see Kyle mainly, and I was with Kyle, so they were just taking us all kinds of places. And uh the whole time we never knew like what was going to happen. Like where are we going? We don't know. We ate like 8 times a day. I was like, I don't know. I had a match on Tuesday, and and Monday morning they like take us to this breakfast to like get everything like, and I'm like, I can't probably eat a whole lot. And they goes, weight problem, no problem. And so I was like, well, when are weigh-ins? So they're like, oh, they're in an hour and a half. And I'm like 8 pounds over, so I'm not gonna make weight. And they're like, oh, it's no problem. So
They'll
I
wave
ended
it
up
off for
wrestling.
you. They'll wave it
Yeah,
off.
I ended up wrestling Sabalov. And neither of us probably made weight, but we were probably about the same weight at the time. But that was a good match. Ended up like tearing a ligament in my knee again, wrestling him because he bent my knee so hard. But
Oh
yeah,
no.
it was good. It was just like sun up to sundown. We were doing stuff, and we never stopped. So it was like the most fun but most exhausting week. Probably the best wrestling trip I've ever been on. I mean, we were going on helicopters. We'd go into stores and they'd be like, grab whatever you want. We know the owners. Like, you want a suit? Like, here's a suit. I was getting DMs from from these like suit shops, like, hey, come to my suit shop. I'll give you a free suit, whatever you want. And I'm like, I don't have time because they're taking us everywhere. And at a certain point, they fed us so much food. I was like, I had to stop. Like I think we ate so much like sheep or something. And I got so sick of sheep, I had to start turning it down. And I felt bad. But they're like, no, eat. And they put it on my plate. And I'm like, I cannot eat it. Give me like a beefsteak and I'll eat that. Give me some ice cream. Yeah. Like I need to eat some food that I'm used to, because I was starting to get sick. And but yeah, I mean, we'd go to a restaurant and then we'd go right to another restaurant right after. And it was pretty wild. So
how many people knew Snyder over there?
Everybody. Like, we were in the airport, everybody knew him. Like, even people that weren't wrestlers, like, they were like, Snyder. And he's like, hey. And by the last night, we ended up getting back to the hotel in Moscow before we were taking off back to the United States. And I remember we were walking in the lobby and this guy was like, Snyder. And it was like 2 a.m. and Kyle was ignoring them. And because Kyle never ignores anybody, but I was like, he started ignoring this guy. And I was like, what are you doing? You got to go say hi to him. And he goes, all right. And then he went and said hi to the guy. So, but he was done. He was
That's
being
what it's
grumpy.
like for NFL players every day, like NBA players. Isn't that crazy to think about that?
Yeah, it could definitely get exhausting. Yeah. I'm glad that I have a normal face that a lot of people don't recognize. Because I don't look like.
You get your first world title, you go back over there and you're going to be mobbed everywhere, man.
Yeah, in Russia, maybe. Not in America, though.
Yeah, no. Well, that's crazy. Like, even our great American champions in America, you can walk through O'Hare Airport, no problem, right? But yeah, that's crazy. That's how big of a wrestling culture they have. Now, are you guys, it sounds like a lot of it is, it's relationship building, it's camaraderie. Are you also going to like the Dagestani wrestling school and doing workouts in the morning and afternoon, or are you just sightseeing basically this trip?
We were trying to train and everything, but they were like, they didn't want us to train. I don't think they wanted us to compete either while we were there. They were like, oh, you don't have to wrestle in that match. You don't got to wrestle in the tournament. Let's go on another helicopter ride. And we're like, no, like, we came to wrestle. Like, right. I ended up not being able to wrestle in the tournament because I hurt my knee against Sadulaev, and Kyle wasn't able to wrestle in the match because Zabrailov got sick. So he only wrestled in the tournament. So I was able to coach Kyle. But like the day before, they were like, we need all this, like, everything was so relaxed the entire time. And then the day before, like, you guys can't wrestle because we didn't get like these paperwork from USA. And we're like, well, why haven't you guys told us that this entire time? Like, I thought everything was covered. And then it was like almost going to be like a big deal that we couldn't wrestle. And I think that those guys were just doing it because they didn't want us to wrestle. They wanted us to just have fun with them. So yeah,
it just shows
we didn't train much.
Maybe we're a little too serious over here, man. Like, those guys are, I mean, I know when they have their training cycles, they're into it, but yeah, it's interesting to hear that's kind of the experience.
No, we do it the right way. Yeah. I don't want to live like that, like doing like, and they drink is tea. Like, they don't drink any water. Like, we'll drink a glass of water and we'll be like, can I get another water? Like, at a restaurant in America, they'll refill your water all the time. Like, I'll drink like a half a gallon of water at dinner. They'll drink all tea and like sip on it. They don't drink like any water throughout the day. And I'll be like, can I get another bottle of water? They're like, you already drank all your water? I'm like, yeah, it was like 4 ounces. I'm like, give me like 4 cups of water. So yeah, it's interesting.
Wow.
I'm surprised they don't have more injuries.
Yeah, right. I mean, and the hydration, you'd think they'd be all over that. Now, when you went to Hazavert, that's in Chechnya, right?
I don't know,
because that's where
I think
that's
so.
where Satiev's from, and I didn't know if there's you noticed.
I think Chechnya was is north a little bit.
Okay, man. So that's wow. And Sadulaev didn't wrestle in this tournament either, right?
No.
He's wrestling about twice a year, I'm guessing, right? Is it Europeans and the Worlds?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's man, what an experience though. It's cool to see one, how hospitable they are, right? And like, now I got to think, if we ever have any Russians over here, we got to step it up.
I know we've talked about it. Like what we would have to do is me and Kyle have talked about this. We'd have to like take them to a Bryce Jordan Center match and then immediately fly to Las Vegas like that night. Drive to Philadelphia, fly to Las Vegas, you know, do the Vegas scene, like take them gambling or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
then, go to a UFC or
uh,
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to a UFC fight and then fly to Los Angeles, go to a Lakers game and then fly back to State College, take them to Waffle Shop. This is exactly like how it was over there. Like everything was like hours away. We were taking like 4-hour car rides. Like it was nuts. So
how was the English?
We'd have to, it wasn't good. We had a translator with us. So Kyle has been learning Russian for like 2 years now. So he's able to speak a little bit. But our translator was really good.
Nice. Yeah. I've heard, well, just not heard, but I've, you know, relentlessly tried to get some of those guys on the podcast, just thinking that maybe some of them would speak a little English, and none of those guys speak English, which,
no.
So podcasts are on hold right now. Wow. Really cool trip. And I just really appreciate you sharing that. And so to me, it doesn't, maybe you did have this, but did you have any, like, that wasn't like a trip where you're having big jumps as much as it's just big experiences for you? Like you're not going over there and like having a Darian Cruz type moment.
No.
This was more
wrestling Sadulaev. I mean, Sadulaev's I think he's a world champ. So wrestling him was definitely good for me. You know, I gave up. I almost got pinned like right away in the match. He did like the weirdest thing where he reached back and grabbed my head and flipped me over. And I thought I gave up. And the match was, if you gave up 2 4-pointers, you lost no matter what the score is. So I thought I gave up a 4-pointer, but I looked back, it was only 2. I thought I was pinned, and then I ended up not being pinned. So able to wrestle back, and still like that was a match where, you know, I gave up a lot of points, but I also scored a lot of points. So it was still good experience for sure. But it was more of a trip for just to visit and have fun, I guess.